Hello chess lovers, Soren here, and in this video I want to share with you another very exciting attacking game. This game is played between two Russian women grandmasters. On the white side is Alisa Galliamova and Alina Kashlinskaya is playing with the black pieces. The game was played at Women's Russian Championship Superfinal. Galliamova opened up with knight f3, to which Kashlinskaya answered with knight f6. This game was actually played while my computer was still out of order, and that's the reason that I'm publishing this a bit late. e3, black castles kingside, bishop e2, d6. With a transposition of moves, we see the good old king's Indian defense, against which white chose the normal variation. Here white castled kingside, knight bd7, knight c3, e5, b4. Other popular alternative is queen c2. b3 or d takes e5 can be also seen, but in the game we see b4. So the plans of both players are obvious. White will attack on the queen side, while black will try her luck on the king side. e4, knight goes back on d2, rook e8. This is a standard idea, as you know. Black is first protecting the central pawn, and then is going to bring his knight on g5 square. Bishop b2, knight f8, a4. Meanwhile, white is proceeding with the pawn push, queen b3. In here, actually, a5 or b5 are more popular, but in the game we see queen b3. Here comes knight 8 h7, rook fc1, bishop f5 a5, a6 b5 c6. By meeting white's pawn storm with a6 and c6, black is trying to neutralize the attack, and also in some cases having this pawn on c6 can be very useful when, for example, white tries to play a move like knight d5, b takes c6, b takes c6, queen d1. So white managed to open up the b file, and now will try to intrude inside black's camp. Bishop g4, queen e1. So white also reinforced her king side, queen d7, bishop a3, rook a d8, c5 d5, rook cb1. There it goes already. White rook is ready to penetrate the 6th rank in order to find a target. We have two nice targets, rook c8. In positions like this, you should always take into consideration sacrifices like knight f3 or bishop f3. In this case, these moves are actually playable, but they don't give black much. Instead, black chose a more cautious rook c8 move, protecting the pawn. Although the pawn on a6 remained unprotected, which white managed, thus getting a passed pawn. Bishop h6. Even in this case, Kashlinskaya was considering knight f3 check, but in this case it's even worse and won't give black much. White is managing to defend successfully, queen b1 offering the exchange of queens. In the game, bishop h6 was played, queen b1 and knight e6. Already at this point, black is creating knight takes d4 threat, rook a2, neutralizing the threat, queen g5, rook b6, freeing the a pawn's path, bishop f5, queen e1, knight g4. Gradually black is intensifying the pressure, but still white is doing great and all the threats are neutralized. Quite possibly in here black was already intending to play a move like knight takes e3. That's why white neutralized it by playing knight d1, strengthening the position further. Queen h4, already we have a direct mating threat. h3, knight g5. This is a very provocative move. Black is inviting white to accept the piece sacrifice, which white did, but this is too risky and black is managing to prevail. Playing a move like a6 or rook a1 is better. If knight f6, then knight c3. If you go for a piece sacrifice on h3, then even in this case you won't get much. White is managing to defend successfully. In the game we see h takes g4, and now let's see what's the problem with it. Black recaptured with the h pawn, and now one of the possible ideas of developing the attack further can be playing king g7 and then rook h8. Although right now a direct threat is knight f3. White played g3, queen h5, And still this knight f3 is hanging in the air, that's why white played f4 in order to free the f2 square for the knight. For example, if you play a move like a6 in order to make use of this pawn, then knight f3 can follow. And then king g7, rook h8, there is no defense, white king is in danger. In the game, f4 was played. G takes f3, knight f2, king g7, there it goes, black is bringing into life that idea, bishop a6, rook c7. Not the strongest move, Stockfish suggests rook a8. In this case, of course, black is sacrificing the pawn on c6, but in some cases, going for the exchange sacrifice on a6 and removing this light-squared bishop, which can play a key role in the defense, is something which is worth of taking into consideration. Instead, we see rook c7, knight f1, rook h8, bishop b7. Well, this is already a serious mistake. Moving away the bishop from this diagonal is losing on the spot. In here, the toughest defense starts with bishop c1, although this is a very difficult move to find. With this move, you are not only strengthening the pawn on e3, and also you're opening up the second rank for the rook. You have to look too far ahead in order to see a move like this, you know. And now if bishop h3, then knight h2. If bishop g2, then bishop f1. Suddenly this light-squared bishop is retreating and white is managing to form a super solid fortress. There is just no way to make a progress. And then you can capture on g2. Black's attack is repelled successfully. Instead we see bishop b7, which is losing. There comes bishop h3. Now black will put her bishop on g2, thus getting a chance to intrude inside white's camp. a6, while white is busy with making use of this passed pawn, black is intensifying the pressure, and yeah, at this point already black's position is totally winning. a7, and we have a forced mate in 6. Can you find a mating line for black? Ready? Well, everything is now ready for the final blow. All black pieces are ready to kill the enemy king, and here we go, a queen sacrifice, a brilliant queen sacrifice with which black is managing to announce a forced mate. Knight takes h1, there comes a check, king h2, bishop takes e3. Black managed to switch this rook into the attack as well, and at this point white resigned. Right now the threat is bishop g1 checkmate, and if you accept the bishop sacrifice as well, then knight g5 check is coming. Knight f4 was equally strong, and then rook takes h1 check, king f2, and knight h3 checkmate. A very, very nice combination, right? That's why, where is that bishop takes e3 move after bishop takes e3, resignation followed. This is an attack which is typical to King's Indian attack. You are piling up your pieces on the king's side, and finally, by finding the opponent's Achilles heel, you are making a sacrifice, and then the unstoppable machine does its job. In the end, a chess puzzle for you, where the task is to find the mating line for black. It's black to move, and I will wait for your answer in the comment section. There is even a forced mate in 5. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in my next video.